Hello there, guys. So I invite you to join me as I'll be exploring some of the backing tracks that I've recorded the last couple of weeks and months. And I've actually just had a test jam with them and they're really fun. So hopefully it'll be good. So let's try this one first. This is from what I like to call the meta blues etude because I kind of mix the metal backing with some bluesy playing. And I'm going to try to do the same right now. So it's an E minor if you want to join, or E, yeah, just E pentatonic. It's kind of groovy, as you can tell. Let me just tweak a little bit here. So added a little bit of extra compression and push to the sound. I have to try and use those pockets in dynamics. So whenever the backing track goes down, be sure to follow it. Likewise, when it goes wild, you can go wild as well. Kind of soft, right? And then, as it increases, you can go wild. You can even throw in some diminished, which is what I did. Another way to go wild with a bit of two-handed tapping there. So I use the pentatonic scale for this stuff. Let's combine a little bit of two-handed tapping with some arpeggios. Two-handed tapping, two-string arpeggios, and then like a bluesy Dorian kind of thing. Don't miss the last note. That's a tip for you. That's better. That's why we have to practice. Fabrizio, how many years of playing? So I've been playing over 20 years. I would say like maybe around 10 to 15 years of more regular and intense practicing. Not always like, 4 or 5 hours per day, but still kind of committed. So even if I only had 45 minutes, still targeted practicing. Of course, when I had my most intense periods of playing, whoops. Okay, seems we're a bit noisy today. When I had my most intense periods of playing, I was playing for like 8 hours, but that's not really sustainable. It's easy to get an injury, which I did, and it's just maybe not always recommended because a lot of what's going to come out of your playing is also dependent on the input. So if you only see your woodshed and always practice all day and never meet any people, chances are your music isn't likely going to connect with other people. So, you guessed it, I was playing some weird fusion music which no one understood. Leif, good to see you, mate. So a bit more jamming here with the Meta Boost dude. Sorry, mate, I don't know any gent at all. Play some bluesy stuff. when I play those tapping runs, part of the trick is to try to, you know, hide the fact that you don't know what you're doing. So a lot of times I'll start off in the scale, and the faster I play, the more I will play outside of the scale. It's not even on purpose. So you really have to land in a good spot. That's okay, timing was a little bit off. It's a bit better, a bit smoother flow between the melody and the fancy lick. Sometimes it works when you play outside. So there I played outside, but I was still in time, and I think it worked. But if you're off both timing-wise and outside of the key, then you can start to sound really bad. Yeah, we got Noel here, my man. What's up? I'm just chilling and jamming and speaking a little bit about what goes on in my head as I'm playing. Oh, and there it ended. So maybe let's try something else. This is from the Pick Inside the Hand etude. Kevin, what's up, my man? So this is, oh, it's in C minor. So you can play your 8th fret there. Coloma, what's up, my man? One more time. That's better. So trying to match the sound a little bit with the backing track. Here, this is a very non-aggressive backing track. It doesn't have a lot of distortion or bright guitars. So if your guitar sound is very bright, it's gonna sound a little bit bad. So it's better to play on the warmer sounding pickup here, I think. You can even turn down the tone a little bit. We got Leon here, what's up? Try. So you can hear this is a bit of a softer sound, right? As opposed to this. So just by you know, fiddling with a pickup switch, you can get interesting and softer tones that match the backing track better. I'm here to teach you, man. Just let me know what you're working on. Oh, Coloma, watching my lick every day. Thanks so much, man. That's an honor. So are you learning from them, or are they way, you know, difficult, or are they too easy, or maybe in the wrong style or anything? Just let me know. I'm always interested in, you know, getting some feedback for you guys, the end users. I know that when you're learning, it's not always fun to share your progress. And it's a shame, because I think that if more people dare to share their progress, I would feature it in the stories on the channel, so other people can, you know, see, you know, how everyone is working on the content. And actually, the more beginner you are and the worse it sounds, the better I think it is, because that's going to inspire other people. So if you guys want to share, then just go for it. This is an Ibanez RG6. Cool. Note of my note articulations, man, that's awesome. So a lot of this time I get like an accented or increased articulation just by killing the note in between every pick strike. So I'm putting down the thumb like that. Of course, whenever you're playing over this kind of backing track, which isn't very noisy, you got to be careful because every mistake is kind of amplified. You can't really hide behind a wall of distortion. That's good because you get to, hear your mistakes and clean up your technique. Yeah, for sure, the RGs are, very close to what Vibe plays in his jam. Flight of the Bumblebee, anybody? Well timed. So I'm in C minor. If you guys want to tune in, I'm in on the 8th fret. You can play your pentatonic scale. And if you know your pentatonic scale, then all you have to do is think of it as a high E string. You add this ring finger. And on the high B string, you add this middle finger. And if you do that, you get the Aeolian scale. So as opposed to just doing pentatonic scale, we add those fingers and we get the Aeolian scale. And it makes it a little bit easier to add some speed to your, your pentatonics, because you can do these kind of things just by adding those extra fingers. So a little tip for you, if you're like me, trying to get better at your tapping, try to avoid like multi-string tapping and stick to 1 or 2 strings if you want to get better at kind of weaving it into your soloing. Because I find myself, whenever I do this, chances of me messing up are much bigger than if I just play on 1 or 2 strings. That's a tip for you. So I'm just gonna pretend I was playing melodic minor there and that I wasn't messing up. Well, that's something I'm trying to get better at using in my jams. So these kind of Joe Satriani-ish something, or I don't know, where you throw in these damp notes like that. So half of the notes are chuku, and that's just muffled notes. So you're lightly touching the string here and muting. So it's a but it's hard to do it and try to, throw in some variations, so it's more of like an improvised thing. That's good. So, but then try to do that many times and throw in variations, that becomes hard. So Bapang, what's up? From the Philippines. Shout out from Stockholm, Sweden. How you doing, man? Big fan of my playing. Thank you so much, man. Means the world. So, I mean, if you want to share your progress, feel free to do so. I would love to share more student takes in my stories. I hate it when it's just me all over the place. The reason we're not seeing a lot of student takes is because I think people are afraid of sharing, before their take is perfect. But if I thought that way, I would never share anything, because there are no perfect takes. So just share, man. Huh. That's better. Now another challenge with these two-handed tapping runs is that I'm not using a string dampener, right? So going between two-handed tapping and regular playing, there's a little of a risk you're gonna get some noise, right? So I'm trying to work on that. Let's see. Okay, that was okay, but I messed up the timing. Bit better, but there was a bit of noise there as well. So no noise, but still a bit messed up. Especially when you made those free blues lessons way back. Oh, okay, free blues lessons. Can you remind me, was it like free blues live streams? Or was it these, you know, like these boogie things, or which one? Because I'd love to know, I can do more of them. Let's see if I can practice going between those 200 tappings, lines, and some phrasing. Oh, shorts on YouTube, free blues lesson, okay. So on my personal Christopher Dahl YouTube, was that where you saw them? Coloma, what's up? Oh, pentatonic sequencing. Okay, so maybe it was this kind of thing then. Like playing a bit diagonally with like six note groupings of 6 would be maybe not like this. It's a little bit fast, but let's try it. Woohoo! One more time. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you so much, man. So if you're into this kind of thing, then I'm just playing the pentatonic scale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the easy version, which is still pretty damn difficult, is just do that in one position, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's like, okay, the blues note as well. Which one was that? I no longer know which one it is. Oh, sequencing, maybe. Maybe something like that. Anyhow, lots of cool licks here. You can play in groups of 6. If you want to do the advanced version, then you're going to play 6 in one position, and then you move up one string and up one position. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, like that. So you get. One more time and see if we can fit it in musically. Ah, man, it's hard. It's a little bit fast. It's in 120 BPM, so that's why. Cool, so the effects I'm using, well, I can just maybe turn the camera around and show you what I'm using here. So it's a bit noisy now, so I'm gonna turn off that final compressor, which really adds all the noise. Right now I'm using the Mark 1 voicing, or Mark 1 voicing of the overdrive channel on my Mesa Boogie Mark 5 combo amp. And I'm using quite a bit of pedals for this sound. This is just a tuner. That's just a tuner. This is a noise suppressor, which is only doing a decent job right now, but I'm feeding it a lot of noise. And then we go into the full tone OCD, which is where a lot of the sound is coming from, a lot of the dynamics. Into the Ego compressor, which I set the blend knob to 12 o'clock, so you're hearing half of the original signal and some just twangy sustain or twangy compression. And then I use this Dynacomp compressor as a booster, right? And I turned it off right now because it was causing so much noise. And then it goes into the Mesa Boogie Mark 1 voicing, which is really creamy and also makes up for a lot of the sound. And then we have these two pedals in the loop, which is just like an old Boss DD3 delay pedal, and the Strymon Big Sky for reverb. That's it. That's the whole chain. And I'm back to showing my face. I bet you were missing me. Just kidding, of course. Okay, so let's hear it in action. Now, first without the booster, which was causing all that noise. Whoops. It's pretty nice, actually. I actually prefer this, but the booster gives me a little bit of extra push, which helps me... Oh, I messed up, sorry. There we go. So, which helps me, with the faster runs. If you have more distortion and boost, then that stuff gets a little bit easier. Or you can use double compression, but you're going to get a lot of noise. I only use the two compressors, usually when one of them is set to as a booster and almost no compression. Right now I have two compressors, which is why you're hearing a bit of extra noise. There are no rules, but in general, if you squash your sound and totally kill all dynamics, it's not going to sound that good. This is still decently dynamic, could be worse. I want to learn how to make my solos sound more melodic than making them sound like I'm just practicing scales. Oh, a good one. So this might have been the sequence you were speaking about, right? So I'm gonna turn off the booster, the double compressor now. Oh, cool. So Bapang, I remember that pattern finally. Cool. Okay, so how do you make your solos sound less like scales and more like melodic solos? Well, I'm gonna tell you a secret. Scales are kind of worthless for learning to play melodically. Scales are just a way to visualize where the notes are on the fretboard. But if you've ever learned a scale, then you realize just by playing those notes, it doesn't sound very good. At best, it's gonna sound like a scale. So whenever you see a guitarist playing something cool, they're not really playing a scale. I mean, they are, but that's usually not what they're thinking. Instead, what's happening is they're playing a bunch of licks, patterns, and phrases, which they practiced a lot. Usually they practice those much more than running through the scale up and down, okay? So the conclusion is, if you want to play stuff that sounds cool, sounds good, scales are not the solution. You need patterns, you need phrases, you need licks. In other words, you need the content on this channel, which is why I'm showing you so many licks and stuff like that. That's what matters in the end. That's your vocabulary. So each time I'm showing you a new lick, it's a bit like I'm teaching you a new word. So you can practice that word, and eventually you're going to be able to use that word when you're speaking. If I just showed you the alphabet all the time, so A, B, C, D, E, you wouldn't be able to speak with that, right? That's the same relation between licks, between scales and phrases. You gotta learn the actual licks and phrases. That's really key. So I'm not thinking in terms of scales here when I'm doing this. I'm thinking in terms of licks, which I practice with all those tiny details that make it sound good. So scales are just guidelines for where the notes are. It can be a good tool, but it never helps you play anything that sounds good. It's a bit like you won't ever write a good book just because you learn the alphabet, you know. You have to start, reading other people's books, and that equals to learning other people's lines or solos, licks, riffs, whatever, That's how you get the input. Before your output is going to sound good, you have to get a lot of good input. So read your books, learn your phrases, speak with people. Then you're going to be able to say interesting things. It's the same thing for the guitar. A scale that teaches you the alphabet, but it doesn't at all tell you how to play things that sound good. In order to, output things that sound good, you have to get some input. And that input is going to be your favorite solos or, your licks and riffs on this channel, whatever. Anything that you like, learn that. That's useful. And you can definitely learn some scales in between, but they're just going to show you the connection between the notes. They're not going to help you play anything that sounds cool. So it's an important thing, I think, to emphasize, because people learn scales with the same expectations as when they learn chords. But chords, you can play them, and you're actually pretty close to being able to play a song. But if you, just by strumming, you're close to playing a song. But if you learn a scale and then strum it, it doesn't sound like a solo. So playing solos is much harder than strumming your first chord. Oh, interesting, Bapang. So you're aware of my kind of teaching hack there of, teaching the modes through pretty basic pentatonics. I love doing that. So if I'm playing in something in minor, like C minor, so pentatonic scale sounds good, but if you want to add more color to it, we could try playing a mode. But learning a 7-note mode is a bit annoying, and it's usually out of reach for most people. It, again, just sounds like a scale played up and down. So what you can do instead is just add one single note to the pentatonic scale to get the same flavor as a mode. So I could add this note, the ring finger on the B string, and I get the flavor of the Dorian mode, actually, because I add that major 6th note. You don't have to understand the theory, you just have to realize that modes are not about learning many dots on the fretboard. It's about catching the actual sound of the mode. Because if you can do that, then it's all going to make sense, especially when you do choose to memorize all the notes on the fretboard. But if you just try to memorize the notes on the fretboard without understanding what makes up for the Dorian sound, you're never going to learn or memorize, you know. It's just going to be something you explore for 3 days and then you forget about it. Not to mention that most people do know some licks in the pentatonic scale. So adding one note, in other words, also adding like one note to your licks, that's an easy way to actually make music with that extra Dorian note. Much easier than doing this. And trying to make that sound good, it's almost impossible. Sure, you could... Most people can't do that, so it's not helpful, right? It's much better to add that one note to the pentatonic scale. I messed up a million times. Sometimes 4 notes sound really good instead of playing a lot of notes. Yeah, for sure. B.B. King was famous for that. Most time less sounds better. It does. And it's harder to play 4 notes and make it sound good, you know? It's easier to play 4 notes than playing a million notes, but playing 4 notes that sound good is very hard, you know? You can learn 2 or 3 licks and that's fine, but playing night after night, solo after solo, song after song, and just playing slowly and coming up with interesting new phrases and lines, that's hard. Just as hard as learning to shred, you know? It takes a lot of time and devotion. Let's try it. Yeah, and it's hard. I don't know if that even sounded good. Nice use of hybrid picking. Thank you. I do use hybrid picking all the time. If you're not sure what that is, I'm going to play a little bit and pay close attention to my right hand. And you're going to notice I'm not only using the pick, I'm also using these fingers. Check it out. Tune, giving myself a huge disadvantage with a guitar that's a little bit out of tune. Not that bad, just a high E string, and I broke it recently. Let's try some more and you can see my hybrid picking on my right hand there. So keep looking at my right hand now. You can see I'm always alternating between pick and fingers. Justin, let's go! And a lot of times that's going to help me with arpeggios. See, I'm doing every other string there, which would be very hard without hybrid picking. traditional techniques like sweeping as well, but a lot of times that kind of thing. Here's my guitar. Take it virtually. Now, of course, my favorite combination is hybrid picking with legato, and I call that hybrid legato. It's just that legato and hybrid picking work very well together, So if I show you some of that, I'm doing left-hand legato and I'm doing hybrid picking. It's just a very smooth technique, and it allows you to get away from that 80s legato where you always use 3 note strings, because I can use 3 note string, 1 2 3, and then 1 note string, and then 1 2 3 again, or 2 notes, so 1 2 3 1 2, and then 2, and then 2, and then 1 2 3. It just allows you to play more unpredictable runs. So hybrid legato, that's the shit. Exactly, alternate with fingers and the pick, exactly. And legato, left-hand legato. So actually there's a little bit of confusion going on there. When I do this kind of thing, people credit that to my right hand, like I'm doing something strange there, right? I'm doing pick and finger. That must be the trick. But this is actually not the hard part. I could use the pick for this as well. The hard part is the left hand, right? And then, it's up to you if you want to do hybrid legato or just legato. You need, the fast playing comes from the left hand. I'm not doing any fast hybrid picking or anything like that. So exercises for left and right hand. Well, that's one of the things I cover a lot in my different courses. So there's a million different ways to do it, and I would say it depends a little bit on what styles you're into and what your favorite artists are. But if you just want to go technical, you can't really go wrong with like something chromatic, right? If you're new to playing fast, just doing. The good thing with this is you're going to cover it all. It doesn't sound that musical. That would be the next step. But you're really covering all the possible finger combinations there. And then you can quite easily do that on all different strings. So you cover a lot of different combinations. Something like that, right? And when you get better at that, you could do like less repetitions, right? So instead of doing like 4 times there and then 4 times there, maybe you can move on to doing 2 or 1 time and you get this. Still kind of boring and chromatic, but this can translate to something cooler, right? It's the same technique, right? I'm just doing, as I was doing with chromatics, with a bit more stretch, I can do. And it becomes a very cool lick, right? You start with something that's boring and chromatic just to practice each finger, and then you increase the stretch, you do less repetitions, and it starts to sound like a lick. It's like an ambulance sound. Of course, I'm playing it like a strict exercise still, but you know, if you want to get into doing something that's like what's the key? Oh, Simon. A lot of people want to be able to throw in a little bit of fast playing into to add a bit of, you know, suspense into your runs, and for that kind of thing, these are good exercises. So whether you want to use it like a technical thing, just playing fast all the time, or you want to throw it in at select places to build some tension and some what's the word? My brain is failing me. You build some anticipation or something. It's my pleasure, Bapang. Sorry for butchering your name Swedish fashion. Bapang. Sorry, man. I messed up. Cool, guys. So I think we'll reach the end of the session. Try to not keep going when I you know, feel I can't really give you my everything. So that means I'm gonna have to break it now. Oh, older brothers and uncle. Okay. Your name is Tian Tian. Okay, sorry. So it's like Uncle Tian Tian. I get it. So it's been awesome. I hope to see you soon again. And if you want to share your playing with me, remember that if you're brave enough to record yourself practicing, and you know, if it's any of the content on this channel, you will get featured in a story. So that could be cool for other people to see as well. You're working hard at it. Yeah, Crossroads, that's a classic one for sure. Cool, guys. So thanks so much for hanging out with me. Joseph, Tian Tian, lots of other good people. It's been awesome. Hope to see you soon again.